Hi, this is Shrink Siddharth once again. Welcome to the next video of this module and in the course of Java Fundamentals and Basics. In this video, we are going to explore the single dimensional array, that is 1D array in Java. So again, inside the IntelliJ IDE, let me first show you how can we initialize the array in Java. So for that, let us define the int data type followed by square bracket open and close, and then give it a space and define the variable name. Let's say my first set equal to curly bracket open and close. And now as a content, let us define 1 space 1 comma 4 comma 12 comma let's say 47, and so on. If you want, you can give more values. So this array contains 4 values of integer 1, 4, 12 and 47. And now this is the first way you can initialize any array. Now what is the second way to initialize the array? So for that we can simply use the syntax of int followed by again square bracket, and let us call it second set equal to new int. So here we are simply using the new keyword to initialize our new array. Now here it is showing some error, array initializer expected. Now remember, whenever you define any array, you have to define its fixed size. Because these kinds of array are actually not dynamic. These are the arrays whose size you have to define first. Such as here for the first set, we have simply defined 4 values. That is, this array has the size of 4. Now similarly here again, we have to define its size 4, and then simply defined manually the 4 values for this array. Let's say second set index of 0 equal to 1, and then similarly other 3 values. So here I have simply defined all the 4 values for the second set array. Now let us do one thing, let us add the 5th value as well, let's say 10. And here as well, second set index of 4 equal to let's say 10. So here we have to increment it from 4 to 5. Otherwise it will throw some exception. And now next, how do we print all these values? By simply using the for loop. So for that we have the for loop as for int I equal to 0, I smaller than the length of the first set array. So here we have the method of first set dot length. Now this length simply returns the size of the array, that is 5. Now inside this for loop, what we can do, let us use sout and simply print first set the index of I. So each time we are actually looping through, this counter variable I is actually getting incremented from 0 to length minus 1, right? That is I smaller than length. And now let us run our code. So here we go, in the output we have 1, 4, 12, 47 and 10. So we have successfully printed the values of the first set array. Now in Java we have one more advanced for loop that requires less code to write to print all these values. So here let us explore that one as well. Let's say for each. So here we have the for each loop. Now as a parameter you have to pass two values such as int num, which is again the user defined, and second one is the second set. And now simply print sout the value of num. Now in case of for each loop, we do not have any counter variable defined explicitly, because this for each loop is actually the advanced for loop that simply uses a counter variable internally. So you do not have to worry about the counter variable here. Simply define a variable num and then simply define the array. So each time this loop is going to run, it will simply loop through each of the values of the array present and store it inside this local variable of num. And now let us run our code. So here in the output we get the content of both the arrays. So from here to here we have the content of the first array, and from here to here we have the content of the second array printed. So in between these two, let us add a new line. Let's say system.out.println and then run the code. So here we get a new line in between these two arrays. Fine. And Now let us proceed and check out another example. Let's say if I define a new array of int, let's say test array equal to second set. So here we are simply assigning the second set to the test array. But now this doesn't mean that we are here creating a new array. Now if you have followed my previous video, then you must be knowing what I am talking about here. So we are simply going to use the test array and simply use it to change some value. Let's say let us change this 7 to let's say 83. So test array index of 2 equal to 83. And now let us print all the values of the second set array and let's see if we are able to change the value of 7 to 83 or not. So here we go. The third element, that is the element present at index 2, is now converted from 7 to 83. So this simply shows that this test array simply points to the same array as this second set reference variable points to. So whatever changes that we make inside the test array will be reflected inside the second set array. And now suppose if you want to avoid this, that is if you want to create a new copy so that whatever changes that we do inside the test array will not get reflected inside the second set. So for that we have the static method of arrays.copyof. Now as a value, simply pass second set followed by the length of the array. So the length of the array is actually second set dot length. And now let us do one thing, let us print both the arrays. So simply use the for each loop again, int num, and then after colon let us pass test array and simply print the num variable. So here let us run our code. So here inside the output console you can check this is the content of second set array 1, 4, 7, 5 and 10. So these are all the original values, and here down the side we have the values printed for the test array. So in case of test array you can check we have simply modified the value from 7 to 83 without disturbing the content of the second set array, right? So this is how we copy the content of one array to another without disturbing the content of another array. And now at the end let us write a program to find the sum of all the numbers present inside this array. So for this again we have to make use of the loop. So here again let us use for int I equal to 0, I is smaller than second set dot again length, then I plus plus. Right before the for loop I will simply define the int sum equal to 0. So initially the sum is 0. So inside the iteration let us use sum equal to sum plus second set index of I. And now at the end after this loop let us print the value of sum. And now let us run our code. So here inside the output the sum of all the numbers present inside the array is 27. And now at the end let us explore more. Now similar to integer array we can also define the float array as well. Let's say float array space ff, and also we can define the string array, str array, strings, and we can also define the double array, my doubles, and also you can define the boxed type data type such as capital D double. Let's say doubles 1, fine. And now similarly we can also have the boolean array as well. And now all these arrays can also be initialized in the same way that we have initialized our integer array here. So for the float value we can also use curly brackets 3.2.0, comma 4.2 and so on. And again here let us use f, so as to let the compiler know that these are floating point values, not the double values. And similarly this string can be initialized in a way that we have initialized our float value and the integer array. So this was all about the 1D array in Java. In the next video we are simply going to explore the 2D array or the multi-dimensional array in Java. So let's meet in the next video. Meanwhile, if you like what you saw, please subscribe to this channel and please like this video. Thank you and have a good day.